All right, I think we're live. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Let's give people a couple of minutes to settle in, and then we can get started with our webinar.
Fantastic.
Perfect. All right, let's get started. Hey, everyone, I'm Jose Herrera. I'm the CEO of co-founder of Horatio. Thrilled to be part of this panel today to talk about how businesses can elevate their customer service operations, especially during peak season that is coming soon. We have Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Amazon Prime Day, and I know that this is a very busy and hectic and stressful season for most e-commerce brands. At Horatio, we specialize in providing top tier customer experience teams that are proud to represent your brand's voice and values and help you focus on what you can do best and have a dedicated team of associates that are working very hard on behalf of your brand to provide delightful customer service solutions to your customers. Joining me on this panel, I have Tom. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Doing well. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Tom is the manager of customer success at Aircall, one of our partners. Aircall is a leading cloud-based phone system built for modern businesses. We have a lot of our clients that use Aircall because they have extremely easy and seamless, powerful integrations with some of the top CRMs and help desk out there. I know we have a lot of clients that use different CRMs, and all of them use and leverage Aircall for their voice channel, which is one of the most important ones, particularly during this busy season. And for those looking to enhance their customer support capabilities, Aircall is offering now an amazing promotion, which gives you 2 months free on an annual contract if you sign up right before the holidays of October 30th. So feel free to reach out to Tom for more information on that one. As I said, the conversation with Tom is going to be very informative today. We're going to be talking about some tips and tricks that brands can take back to their teams as they start preparing for the holiday season. The first question I have for you, Tom, today is, how can businesses best prepare for this high volume of customer inquiries, particularly during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then going into Christmas holidays?
Yeah, Jose, it's crazy to think that we're right here and it's right around the corner and going to be sooner than we think, right? I think the biggest thing is looking at staffing, and that's obviously a top priority for all of our customers as we head into this busy season. And so, really leveraging the data that you have on previous holiday seasons to look at where can we make the most value, what are we going to need, but also, technology has changed so much in the past year. What has happened in your tech stack? I think AI is a huge conversation these days, and how can we leverage that to be efficient in our customer communications? So whether that's looking at chatbots and how can we, deflect away from our agents, but also make sure that our customers are heard, right? I think at the end of the day, that's what customers want, is a solution, but also to feel heard as a consumer. So making sure that we're scaling effectively, deflecting where we can, but also making sure that that customer is heard at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I know obviously everyone loves Amazon here. So Amazon has done a great job scaling customer service during peak season by using a mix of automation, as you mentioned, and human support. So making sure that everyone is planning ahead and making sure they have the right staffing solution planned, and also the right use of technology to make sure that they are prepared for that influx of inquiries is critical.
100%. And I think with that, just like the flexibility and scalability too, right? I think as much as we all love to prepare, um, stuff happens at the end of the day, and being able to adapt quickly and make changes where you need to. So whether that's again with staffing, with knowledge base articles, things of that nature, making sure that you have a way to quickly pivot should anything go wrong. I think prepare for the worst, but be ready for anything.
Definitely. And as we talk about preparing for the season, I mean, one of the key things that we see with our client base is having the right omni-channel strategy. How do you think about building the right omni-channel strategy and reaching your customers through the right platforms?
Yeah, I think omnichannel is essential, right? It's the name of the game when it comes to customers reaching out, right? So whether that's social media, email, live chats, and of course phone, right? I think all of these channels serve a purpose, and with that come different expectations along the way. So seamlessly integrating those into a way where agents can respond to those inquiries via those channels is critical to making sure that we have a smooth customer experience, and making sure, regardless of what channel a customer is coming in on, if they pivot to a different channel, your agents are able to pivot right there with them, right? So I think making sure that if I reach out over email and then I call in the next day, that agent that's handling that phone call knows what happened the day previously. No one likes to repeat themselves. I think it's something that we all try to avoid. So making sure that agents have all of that knowledge at their fingertips, regardless of what channel it comes in, giving that holistic customer experience is super important.
Definitely. Speaking about having a holistic customer experience, one of the things that we are big proponents of is being very proactive with how you communicate with your customers, particularly as we are preparing for this busy season. What are some of the strategies that you think brands should take when being proactive with customers ahead of the season? Whether it's providing them with notifications of their shipping deadlines or things along those lines.
Yeah, I think proactivity is the best customer experience possible, right? It allows us to make sure that our agents are running efficiently, but also gets in front of some of that ticket volume that we might expect as we go into the season. So any real-time updates that a e-commerce brand can provide, whether that's over email, text messaging being another one that I get a lot of these days, is something will come in and, hey, I get a text message, your order is being processed. Something as simple as that, just letting customers know throughout their buying experience with you what is happening, I think is super, super important and can really decrease that volume. So getting ahead of that, now start planning those conversations and those automations so that come Black Friday, come Cyber Monday, we're ready to roll. So I see a lot of our customers starting to plan for that already, thinking about how they can optimize, especially that text message component, knowing that open rates on text messages are so much higher than emails these days. Everybody will look at a text, not everybody will look at an email.
Definitely. I think another thing that we've seen with some very cool brands is providing personalized care for VIP customers during this season. So something that we're seeing is personalized outreach via either phone or email to customers that are VIP and considered return users of your product goes a long way. I think some brands even go the extra mile by providing like a dedicated support line for these VIP customers, or even one-on-one consultations, even early shopping windows or discounts for those loyalty to reward them for their business, makes them feel very special, and also helps brands anticipate some of that order volume early on that they're going to be expecting. So those are some of the strategies that I've also seen that have worked pretty well when it comes to like omni-channel, but also a VIP customer experience, which is proactive in nature and makes customers feel a little bit more, I guess, engaged and loyal to your platform. So I definitely agree with you on the point that it's very important to be as transparent as possible with the communication, providing tracking updates, providing text alerts. That has worked out really well. And then also something that smaller brands should be super focused on is like, um, how can you ensure that if you're running out of stock of a particular product, you let customers know in advance so that they're not caught by surprise when they place the order and then they immediately get a message saying, sorry, we cannot fulfill your order because the product was out of stock. Like, I think that's an opportunity for you and your team to upsell and say like, hey, sorry, I know that you wanted this particular flavor, but we ran out. If you order these other options, I can give you a 10% discount. And like, that's a way to like not only enhance your customer satisfaction for your customers, but also like promote loyalty because you were proactive and because you provided you went the extra mile to help your customers there. Tom, one other area that is a big pain point for brands, particularly after Black Friday, Cyber Monday, is returns and the return process. How have you seen brands effectively manage this particular process?
Yeah. Again, I think it just comes down to being proactive, right? So, how can we deflect stuff away from agents, right? So, providing clear expectations on a knowledge base, on an FAQ page, on what that process is. I think at the end of the day, everybody has that one family member that might not get them something that they want, and so returns are bound to happen. It's the reality of this time of season and gift giving, right? So I think being proactive and making sure that process is clearly outlined to either the purchaser or potentially someone that is receiving that gift, right? And then going on and building on that, and again, effective communication of, okay, your order just got received, or your return, excuse me, just got received back to the warehouse. We're going to be processing that. You should expect to see, those funds returned to you in the next 5 to 7 days, right? So making sure that we're communicating along the way rather than having that customer call in upset. So I think that's one really effective strategy. And then, like you said, just like that VIP experience and the exclusivity that comes with that, I think is huge in driving customer loyalty. People like to feel special and a part of something. So I think that, going back to that, that's a huge way of making sure that we're prioritizing our customers and, giving them the experience that they want, which will ultimately drive that loyalty.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think something that I've seen with some brands is also like how they split up the pre-purchase team from the post-purchase team. I think making sure that you have the right team in place to manage post-purchase inquiries, because after the holiday season is when brands start seeing an influx of inquiries as well post-purchase. Making sure that you have the right team in place, not only during the holidays but after the holidays as well. We typically see that busy period extend, all the way up until February. So a lot of brands typically try to extend their support hours or have a well-defined process in the FAQ for managing returns, making sure that you have the right self-service options for customers to easily access those return options, but also expanding live support during the peak season and after the peak season, so that the customers remain satisfied even after that initial rush of pre-purchase. Making sure that you have that specialized teams that is able to handle returns and complaints in a very efficient manner. Also, we, over the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of issues with USPS and some other carriers losing a ton of packages and making mistakes. There's been a lot of tech glitches as well that caught a lot of brands by surprise. So being prepared for that as well and monitoring your orders is critical. We had a brand last year or 2 years ago, I think, that USPS was recycling some of the tracking numbers, and all of the orders that were fulfilled during Black Friday, Cyber Monday said that they were already delivered back in September when people were placing these orders in Thanksgiving. So there's a lot of unpredictability that happens during the season, and I think it's a matter of making sure that you're tracking live what's happening with your purchases and your orders, and having the right dashboard in place to be able to quickly you know hire additional help if you need so. So a lot of the brands that we work with, they typically come to us around this time and say, hey, based on our forecast and an order volume, we would like to have an extra set of hands, and also provide overtime to the existing teams, like making sure that you have extra support during this season. I always try to tell brands it's better to be prepared than not prepared, and having being a little bit overly cautious or extra with your forecast is important, because you don't want to be on the other side of the equation, right? So that is something that we're definitely seeing.
Yeah, I think scaling up around after hours support, especially during the holidays, is huge, right? Like, I think it's something 88% of consumers want a response within the first hour. And think about it, you're busy at work and maybe you don't have time, and then suddenly you get home, you're making dinner, and then it's like, oh wait, I still got to process that return, right? And so making sure that somebody is there to respond to that chat, pick up that phone call that comes in, and provide that good customer experience, which will drive that loyalty, right? I think that's huge. And like you said, people are often surprised by how long that busy season will last. We see the same thing on our side when it comes to scaling up for the holiday season, and that going, to March almost sometimes, just to make sure that we're able to handle that influx of inquiries in a timely and efficient manner, and drive that customer experience.
Yeah, definitely. Talking about unforeseen issues. I know that we see a huge spike in issues surrounding fraud and chargebacks during this season. How can brands best prepare for that, and how they can avoid some of those issues?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think it just comes to positive communication, right? How can we make sure that we are escalating those to the personalized team that's going to be best equipped to handle fraud, right? Making sure that we are providing that customer with communication around that. Anytime that there's potential fraud, it's a very stressful thing for the customer, and so really making sure that our agents are leading with empathy, right? Knowing that holidays are stressful enough as it is, knowing that if this is happening, we want that customer to have a positive experience with us, because maybe they haven't purchased with us before, but if I can provide a great experience on their first interaction with us, that goes a long way in my mind. I'm always a big believer in driving myself and really purchasing from brands that I have a great interaction with. So I think that that's really key in providing that customer support, and having a really clearly outlined process for those agents. And again, specificity is key. So we see a lot within Aircall, right? Like, our customers will make sure that their IVR menu options are dedicated and routed to skills-based teams, to make sure that if a call comes in for shipping, we have our best team on that. If we have an exchange going on, that we're sending that to the right team as well. So, yeah.
Definitely. And I think what we're seeing is, as to your point, is like assigning a team of specialists that can handle fraud and chargebacks, for example, is a good way to go. Some of the brands that we work with employ fraud detection tools, and they have very strong verification processes for transactions. So either getting a code to your text via text message or email to make sure that you're the right person that's placing the order. That prevents suspicious activity, and make sure that you have the right infrastructure when it comes to fraud prevention. Providing clear chargeback procedures also can help mitigate some of these risks. And I think that the most important thing is, as we continue pounding on this, is like making sure that you have strong communication policy across your website during the checkout page, making sure they understand how those procedures work. Makes the difference, because you are providing that visibility and you're being honest with your customers in terms of like, what the return policies are, what the exchange policies are, and how all of that flows through.
Yeah, and I think, especially when it comes to fraud itself, right? You talked about like two-factor authentication and things of that nature. I would also be looking at, your average order price and making sure that we're putting in some sort of guardrails and systems to flag this order is 10 times what we normally see from a first-time purchaser. Maybe that's something that we need to look at a little bit on the back end, right? So building those automations so that, again, you can kind of maybe get in front of those before it gets too bad. And again, streamline that communication through a team that's been trained to handle those, highly stressful and escalated situations.
Definitely. And I think another thing that we do at Horatio as well is analyzing the data from Black Friday, Cyber Monday, to refine operations for the future. So, for example, we work with an eyewear brand to analyze data and see like which promotions and products were the most popular, and that helps brands figure out how to better predict customer demand for the next season or the next busy period. The other thing is analyzing inquiry volumes and types and different types to like optimize customer service workflows, whether it's making sure that the website is set up the right way, they have the right checkout flow to make it easy for customers. So making sure that all of the infrastructure and the entire customer journey continues to improve is critical. So we depend a lot on that data to make sure that we adapt and constantly evolve as a team and are better equipped for the next season. So it won't be our first rodeo and we won't be caught by surprise.
Yeah. No, I think the data is the key, right? And so making sure that we're tracking what those, tickets, those chats, those phone calls were about, and measuring, those different interactions, not only by total volume, but by channel too, right? And so how can we make sure that we are equipping those agents for those interactions, or figuring out maybe what's a better way to deflect it or direct those certain inquiries to different channels, right? Because I think, chatbots and emails are great, but when it comes to an escalation, more often than not, somebody just wants to be heard and they're going to pick up the phone. So making sure that agents are equipped, have the empathy and the training needed there, but then also just looking at our total volume across all channels. And then again, setting ourselves up for success. We should always be iterating based on the data that we just got.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that is frustrating for some customers is the fact that during busy period, we're normally shopping after hours when we're at home, we're on our phones, or the weekends. Like, do you think businesses should consider expanding some of their hours of operations during holidays? Or what is your take on that?
Absolutely. I think, like you're saying, it's after hours. It's, I get done with my day. I finish cooking, and now it's like, oh, I gotta, shop for my Aunt Sally, or it's the weekend and suddenly I have time and my to-do list has grown throughout the week. So making sure that you have those people on standby to answer those questions is vital, right? Like we were talking about earlier, that customer experience and providing rapid, clear responses is going to drive that engagement. If I have to sit there and wait for a response, chances are that I'm losing that customer. So the more that I can get instant responses to my customers, I think the higher chance I have of, getting that order placed.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, as I said earlier, I think it's better to be prepared for the worst in terms of like spike in volume. And, some of the things that I've seen brands, do with their teams during their downtime is like maybe start working on that post-holiday engagement in advance, right? Making sure that whether you're sending personalized thank you notes to some VIP customers or offering some post-sale discounts to encourage repeat purchases already. I think, a lot of times we forget that we forget to buy a gift for our other uncle and we only bought it for one of the uncles. So like making sure that you're top of mind for the customer and providing those incentives when they actually need them makes a huge difference. So I think that there are a lot of things that can be done by the team during that downtime, if there is any downtime, which I doubt. But if there is, there are a lot of things that you can do with that team to offer, an amazing post-purchase experience, even in advance or even before the holidays are over.
Agreed. I think we can all sit here, right? And I guarantee you, anyone watching this can think back to the worst customer experience they've had and the best customer experience they've had, right? And I can think of right now, one of the best customer experiences I had was one of those personalized thank you notes after I had a pretty horrible escalation, right? And so when I got that in the mail a few days later, man, I'll tell you what, they made a customer for life out of me, right? Like that's something that's so small that goes such a long way to provide loyalty, right? And I think like you're talking about those post-sale, holiday discounts. Yeah, we probably might forget a certain family member or a friend, but I think I am always also secretly shopping for myself when I am shopping for other people, right? And so, man, maybe now's not the time where I need to purchase that for myself, but I guarantee you, if you bring me back in, your taste is always reflected in your gifts, I like to say. So chances are, if you're shopping for somebody else, you're also shopping for yourself. So great opportunity to retarget those people and then get that next sale come February, March timeframe, maybe.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think in terms of training seasonal agents for that rush of support, like how do you think brands should go about that? Obviously, it's very short time to train a team members on the entire brand journey. But what are some of the types of inquiries you would consider the team should be trained on?
Yeah, I think the one that comes to my mind right away that's the easiest to train is like, hey, what's the status of my order, right? Like those are inquiries that every brand gets, right? And so sure, we can do all we can to communicate that through text messages, through emails in advance, but somebody is always going to come in and be escalated because they thought that their gift was going to be delivered by a certain date, right? So a good agent has empathy, and so that's something that is easy and quickly to scale with to answer those types of questions. And then as well, I think kind of handling that return process. So I think exchanges are a little bit more difficult. You definitely want a more seasoned agent that can recommend products that are similar or might be of similar value, right? But I think when it comes to potentially just quick returns, order status inquiries, those ones are quickly, easily trainable and scalable. And then from there, looking at more of your seasoned agents for some of those refund requests and those ones that come in with a little bit higher of an escalation.
Yeah, definitely. Tom, this has been great. I have one final question before we wrap up. What are some common mistakes you've seen brands make during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and during the holiday season, and how can they avoid them?
Yeah. Underestimating ticket volume, underestimating inquiry volume, right? Like I think this is one that we see time and time again, right? So truly preparing as much as you possibly can. Predicting those staffing, like I said, look at your previous data, look at your Q1, your Q4 last year, right? Look at the growth of the company and then put that on top of your inquiry level to see what can really happen there, right? And then again, just real-time updates, making sure that we are providing customers with a great experience, being proactive with it. I think the last thing that anyone wants is to find out last minute that something might not get delivered in time, right? So clear communication about promotions, order statuses, delivery times is something that is a common pitfall that we see with a lot of customers. On top of making sure that we're staffed appropriately.
Yeah, definitely agree. Awesome. Well, this has been great, Tom. Thank you again for spending some time with us today. We will follow up with the audience and provide some additional details and tips and tricks that we wrote for you all. But also wanted to remind everyone that Aircall is one of our great partners, and they are having a promotion right now where you get 2 months free on an annual contract. So if you guys have any interest in learning more about Aircall, please feel free to reach out to Tom and his team, and they'll happily set up a demo for you all. Again, thank you, everyone, and good luck with the busy season ahead.
Thank you all.